So I got 2 or 3 messages about this last night. Thanks to everyone who got in touch. That on Boxing Scene and apparently other sources, it was reported that Tyson Fury was interested in inviting Joseph Parker to spar with him ahead of the Wladimir Klitschko matchup that Tyson Fury's having on November the 28th. Parker obviously fights Kali Meehan this week, I believe, and one would have to presume that his participation in any sparring depends on how that fight goes. I've done a video on that fight, please check it out, it's still on the channel. Realistically though, it's not really just as simple as Joseph Parker winning the fight. It's, does he win the fight? If he's had a brutal 10 rounds, then he probably won't be going straight into camp to do sparring. If he hurts his hand, he probably won't be going straight into camp to do sparring. If he gets a cut, he probably won't be going to spar Tyson Fury. There's all these intangibles. Clearly for Tyson Fury, it's very, very good for him to prepare for the best fighter in the heavyweight division, Wladimir Klitschko, by sparring with elite level competition. And I think the way Parker's performing, the way he's looking, Parker does represent elite level competition, and it's always going to be beneficial to get that grade A sparring in. What I would say is, I think there's an element of mind games here. Team Klitschko are famous for their mind games. I kind of view this as Team Fury having a bit of a mind game of their own. Let me tell you why. Joseph Parker, he's an excellent fighter, but he doesn't really resemble Wladimir Klitschko in terms of his fighting style. Wladimir Klitschko is a much more clinical, robotic. He's a much more clinical operator who boxes to a much more rigid game plan than Joseph Parker. As we know, Wladimir Klitschko likes to stand at range, throw a long 1-2. Very, very simple. He sometimes puts in the check left hook, but you don't really see him throwing the right hook, the uppercut. You don't really see him punching to the body. You don't see him throwing crazy combinations. He's quite a sort of typical operator. Textbook boxer in the sense that he fights behind the long 1-2. Joseph Parker is very, very different. He's a guy who operates at very different range, at different speed, and throws very different punches. Joseph Parker isn't all about standing from range, teeing off long. Joseph Parker will get in. Joseph Parker throws combinations to the head, and most importantly to the body. Joseph Parker throws all different types of punches. He'll throw an uppercut, he'll throw a hook. He mixes it up a lot. He, in many ways, obviously Wladimir Klitschko at this point is far ahead of Parker, but in many ways, Parker offers a different challenge to Wladimir Klitschko in the sense that Klitschko's not going to hit you in the body. In all likelihood, Klitschko's not going to mix it up on the inside. In all likelihood, Klitschko's not going to knock you out with an uppercut. Whilst both guys are big punchers, I don't really see Parker as being good sparring ahead of a Wladimir Klitschko matchup. I'd be more focused on tall guys who like to keep it long. I mean, even at a low British level, you've got likes of Gary Cornish, Richard Towers, those kind of guys. At a sort of higher level, you're looking for guys who, like Klitschko, have big punching power. Deontay Wilder, David Price, maybe even Lucas Brown. My point is that whilst I think Joseph Parker is generally very good sparring, I don't necessarily think he's great preparation for a Wladimir Klitschko matchup. And this is why I think it's mind games on behalf of the Furies, because Parker's been in training with Wladimir Klitschko. Parker's obviously done rounds with Klitschko, apparently he's done well. He knows what goes on in Klitschko camp. Is the suggestion here that Fury would like to have Parker as someone letting Team Fury know what goes on in Klitschko camps? Is that some sort of mind game that the Furies are offering in retaliation for the delay of this fight and the fact that Wladimir Klitschko is somewhat famed for the mind games he operates before the fight? I think that's likely because, as we've already discussed, with the time frames, Joseph Parker is pretty much going to have to knock out Kali Meehan in round 1 or 2 in order to be ready for a sparring camp. It's more likely he's going to have a break off and recover from that fight. And secondly, Is it really the best preparation? Is he really tailor-made to prepare you for Klitschko? I don't think so. I think it's some kind of advanced mind game. We shall see. Certainly, if Fury Parker did spar, I'd love to see those films. You know, I'd pay to see that sparring, certainly. And maybe these are guys who will meet in a heavyweight title fight one day. Certainly not impossible, especially if Fury gets to win. It's good news for Joseph Parker, though. He's being recognised. We know he's been talked about by Deontay Wilder. We know he's been talked about by Wladimir Klitschko. It's good to see that our number one UK heavyweight, Tyson Fury, talking about him as well. He's clearly a guy, you know, when I started speaking about him on my channel, he was possibly better known in New Zealand. I know he trains out in Vegas, but you know, now he's becoming known on the global level. It's fair play to him. You know, he's making some waves. Let me know your thoughts on this. How do you see it going? I'm sure everyone would love to see the footage. Thanks very much for watching.